Live from Times Square, surrounded by flashing cameras, confetti, and everyone loudly saying, "New Year, new me." Today we're talking about resolutions that don't suck. First, why most New Year's goals flop, probably in the first 10 to 15 days. And Clayton's going to argue that resolutions are actually overrated and might be doing more harm than they are doing good. Then we're going to tackle how tuning out the outside noise can save your sanity, especially around New Year's. Jose thinks ignoring everyone else's pressure isn't just smart, it's essential. And he's ready to explain why. Then finally, we're going to dive into why focusing on tiny daily habits that stack on each other beat trying to reinvent yourself overnight. Plus, we're going to share just that one small habit that could transform your entire year. Get your sparklers ready, grab a drink, let's go. It's New Year, but it's still the All In Podcast. Bada bing, bada boom. Bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so we're gonna start out with a little fun game.
Okay.
You guys ever been to trivia night?
Oh,
your local bar.
For sure.
So I'm gonna do a little trivia game here, and I'm gonna say, guess that person's New Year habit. Okay, you ready for this? Guess which person. This is to you, Jose. Between me and Clayton, guess whose New Year's habit it was.
Resolution.
To walk from Dallas, Texas to College Station, Texas with a backpack on. Go ahead.
This was for the Camino, the College Station.
The Camino de College Station. That would be the language, correct?
Whose was it? I'm going to go with Clayton. Clayton is the type of guy that buys into an outrageous idea and will forget about it within 2 weeks.
That is
now we all are, but I feel like I hear more of Clayton doing that than anyone else.
That reminds me of my favorite Clayton New Year's resolution, which was to give up smoking cigarettes. And he made it a few hours, and we were tallying the number of hours on a whiteboard in our house. And once he reached I can't remember, it was 75 hours or something. He was just like, come on.
We got to celebrate.
Yeah, we got to celebrate. I made it 75 hours.
That was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. It was long.
My favorite's when
ago.
he wanted to move to New Zealand for a summer to be a shepherd.
What a great New Year's resolution. But I mean, here's the thing with New Year's resolutions is everyone does them, but everyone falls flat on their face. The worst day to go to the gym, January the 2nd. Worst day. The machines are packed. No one knows how to use them. The treadmills are packed. No one knows how to turn them on. And everyone's doing the stair stepper without actually the stairs moving. They just think the stair stepper is walking up and down it. That's the New Year's world and vision that we're living in. Why do people do that?
New year, new me. There's something about entering into a new year, a new season. Maybe you could say, John Michael, we're both coming up on 30. 30 is probably also a time where you're like, okay, I'm entering into a big new phase of my life, my 30s. I'm gonna evaluate my life and try to make some changes. But people want to do that at the beginning of the new year because it just feels like a proper time to reset, especially after a holiday season. You just had Thanksgiving, you just had Christmas, you just celebrated New Year's. You're going into the new year and you're trying to create some new habits. But the problem is that you try to do it all at once, and you just can't do that.
Would you say that New Year's resolutions are overrated?
Yes, 100%.
1,000,000%, yes.
Tell me why, Clayton.
Well, resolutions in general are not necessarily overrated. New Year's resolutions, I think, can be overrated because it's a time where you say, you know what I'm going to start doing? Over the course of the next 8 months, I'm going to completely change everything about my entire life all at the same time.
Change what I eat, not drink as much, lose some weight, exercise more.
Everything. And I know this is the All In podcast and we're all in. We want everybody all in. But it's just not the best idea to try and say, I'm going to completely overhaul my life after I just spent the last 8 days feasting.
Yeah, overnight.
Overnight, I'm going to be a new man. What would you say, Jose?
No, I would agree. And I do think it's funny. Because if I had to put a percentage to it, I would say about 75 to 80% of New Year's resolutions in this country have to do with losing weight.
Absolutely.
Is that a cult? Do they set different goals elsewhere?
I
Or
don't
do they
know.
not set them at all?
Well, I don't know. I'm just not familiar with different
With different cultures.
We could start a poll for all of our international listeners. If you could go out and knock on some
Do a little
doors in your
survey
neighborhood, yeah. And I just think it's funny. And hey, as someone that I've partaken and definitely want to be a part of that. It's just funny to me because it's like you just spent 8 days eating your minds out, and then not that long before that, it was Thanksgiving, where you spent another 3 days eating. So it's like, I do understand that, for the past month and a half, a lot of us have been just putting on some pounds. And so it's like, hey, I want to change that. And maybe this will be the year that I change everything. So I just think that's so funny.
I think they're overrated because I think they actually hurt people from getting better rather than help people to get better.
Why do you say that?
So if you jump into something and you don't have a plan, you just say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to, a lot of people, we do our big kind of spiritual conference in the new year. It's usually like January the 1st through January the 5th. It's called our Seek Conference. So so many of these young people will go to that conference and they're not living a life of faithfulness. And so I hear from tons of men, women that I work with is like, oh, the new year, I'm going to pray more. New year, I'm going to try to make it to mass more. New year, I'm going to be holier than I was last year. Great goal. But how's that going to happen? What's your kind of accompaniment plan? Because I don't know about you guys, but my ability to self-discipline myself is only as good as probably 7 to 8 days. So it's like I can hold to something by myself for 7 days.
For a little bit, yeah.
After 7 days, I am the best person in the world at convincing myself why that was a horrible idea. Even though 7 days prior to, I would have died on the hill that this would be something I would be committing to, not just for the next week, but for the rest of my life. Yeah. So I think you're setting yourself up for failure when you're committing to something without a plan.
And even then, it can be a lofty goal. Be like, hey, this year, I'm going to work out 5 days a week for 52 weeks. And to your point, I think it does more harm than good sometimes because the fact that it's such a big thing, especially when you haven't been working out, can almost like scare you off actually implementing it into your life.
I mean, frankly, it hurts physically. You haven't worked out in 6 months and then you're like, all right, 5 days in a row, we're hitting legs.
And now you're sore.
This reminds me of in college, our New Year's resolution, Jose, was to start doing Insanity by Sean T.
Was that a New Year's thing?
In my college backyard. Yes. Yeah.
I remember doing it. I just don't remember.
Well, we started it in the spring.
Yeah.
How long did y'all make it?
Let me tell you. It was me and Jose and our friend Jonathan, who is now, his name's Brother Peter Xavier. He's in a religious order here in Denver. And we decided that we were going to do Insanity by Sean T, which is
Shout out Sean T.
A high intensity interval training workout that makes you look like Sean T. In just 90 days.
Which I got the hair loss going for me to look more like Sean T.
That's right. You're
the only good that came out of it.
You're halfway there. And I remember we woke up at like 5:30 in the morning. You and Brother Peter came over to my house and I didn't even do the workout. I watched you guys from the kitchen.
No. You did it with us.
I have a video on my phone of me sitting on the chair in the kitchen watching you guys do this move where you're pumping your knees as quick as you can. You remember that?
I do remember that. So Insanity was something my brother and I would do in high school.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how we landed
Their
upon
videos?
it. Yeah. And so my brother and I would do it and we loved it because it was just easy. It was like
Not
before
easy.
Some of us could drive. Well, it was easy when we were used to like 2-a-day football practices,
That's fair. That's fair.
And so after a couple of years of not working out, I was like, I used to do this all the time with ease. Mm-hmm. I can easily do it again. Now I've forgotten about the freshman 15, freshman 30 and didn't take that into account. And so, yeah, I do remember it was our sophomore year and we would show up and I think we lasted 2 days. I don't know. And the second day you stopped working out.
You guys just did it in my backyard while I slept.
It was also when I found
year.
out that Brother Peter had jaundice.
Wow.
He looked really yellow those mornings.
We needed to get him out in the sun
Yeah.
a little bit more. So
it was more of my resolution wasn't to work out, was to help my friend be.
well, so
under
the
sun.
resolution to work out isn't necessarily a bad thing.
No,
I
not
don't
at
think
all.
that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
But why does it so often fail? And should you make a resolution to work out? I mean, that's probably a good thing to do, especially at like the New Year season. It's just common to want to make new goals, but why do they not stick?
I think part of it's John Michael's point of like the lack of plan, right? But also it can be the lack of, maybe it falls on the lack of plan, but I was gonna say lack of intentionality. I've made that New Year's resolution plenty of times, and so I start out strong, and I start out working out 5 days a week, and I've been lifting in 2 years, and now I'm sore, and now I don't want to work out anymore. So it's a lack of plan, it's lack of intentionality of like, how am I going to do this like practically? Which I guess that's the definition of a plan. I think that's just such a big part of it. That just leads to, I really don't know what I'm doing. Everything hurts. Maybe I want to slow down a little bit. Instead of just starting little, like the small steps, the quiet steps, we all overlook. We want the shiny, big goal. Hey, I'm going to start working out, so I'm going to do what professional athletes do, right? Let me go do the Navy SEAL workouts as someone that has never, worked out for longer than 30 minutes.
I don't know if
let me go to the gym twice a week.
feel like this, but whenever I get into a new habit, I convince myself that if I buy a bunch of stuff for that habit, then it will take
Then I
place.
will have to.
So it's like, before I start working out, I'm going to buy $150 worth of supplements because that is really critical for me to actually get started.
Because, hey, if I'm going to be working out, I need to do it right.
I need to do it right. And now I also have skin in the game. I just spent $150 on supplements. I just bought a gym membership for $50. I just bought new shoes to work out in.
There's no backing out.
I need new clothes because I can't work out. I can't work out in that.
Yeah.
So now I'm invested. And it's the zero sum. What's the economics principle that we always talk about?
I don't know.
Trickle down.
When you're too far in.
Zero sum game.
When you're too far in.
Molly's
Sunk cost
fallacy.
fallacy. Boom. It's the sunk cost fallacy. I've already spent too much money. I'm too far in. Can't back out now.
Yeah.
So that actually may be something helpful.
Just spend outrageous amounts of money on your New Year's resolution, so you have to do it.
Just invest everything. Buy a sauna, a cold plunge, everything. Just go all in. Put the pot on the table, the whole poker chips, and we're going to go all in. But before we talk about that, we want to take a quick break. We will be right back. When we come back, Clayton is going to tell us about why social media is our biggest enemy when it comes to New Year's resolutions. This is the All In Podcast. We'll see you in a second. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is John Michael Lucido, and I am the main host of the All In Podcast, brought to you by Focus. And I just want to take a second to personally invite you to join us at Seek 26. Seek 26, January the 1st through January 5th. We are going to be in 3 locations. That's how big Seek has gotten. I'm going to be the main stage MC hosting our conference in Columbus, Ohio. Our other main host of the podcast, Jose and Clayton, will be down in Fort Worth, Texas, and then we'll have our 3rd location in Denver, Colorado. January the 1st through January 5th. You are not going to want to miss this. The link to register is in the description. Can't wait to see you guys. Let's go all in on Seek 26. So Clay Dog, the master of failing on New Year's resolutions in 2 days.
Every year of my life.
What is this whole, I think social media has put actually pressure on people to have New Year's resolutions. You log on to Instagram January 1 and everyone's publicly sharing their new year, new me commitments in their stories, their reels, their posts. Is that helpful because now I'm committing to the public, or is it harmful because it's creating a situation I can't live up to?
There's something interesting from this past fall. Did you guys hear about the Great Lock-In?
No.
Was that a youth group event?
Yes. You guys play basketball and have the skateboards and then watch the movie at the gym.
I think it was called the Great Lockdown. It was the Great Lockdown. The Great Lock. I think it's a great lock.
That was 2020.
Okay, you got.
What are you talking about?
Okay, are you guys familiar with 75 hard?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it's 75 days of like making all these extreme changes in your life where you need to do 2 workouts a day, you need to read 10 pages a day, you need to carry around a gallon of water, you need to drink that.
Listen to classical music.
You listen to classical music. There's a few, do you guys remember? There's a few other things that are in there.
Nothing but water, certain protein
alcohol,
requirements,
yeah.
no alcohol, read 25 pages, take a cold shower. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, the Great Lock-In was like a social media trend from the fall, where it was essentially 75 hard, but people can kind of just like make up whatever they want. But they were like, from September until the new year, this is the Great Lock-In. I'm going to change all of these habits in my life all at once. So people would come up with these lists and post them on social media of like, here's all the things that I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to work out from this time to this time. I'm going to eat the same thing every single day. I'm going to lose 25 pounds. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. And they would all post it on social media as a form of like, I guess you could say like accountability or something like that. But one, I just don't think that's, again, we've kind of already talked about it. It's unrealistic. And then I think it puts pressure on yourself because, in order to be able to accomplish those things, to, develop the habit of working out every day, to develop the habit of eating healthy, every single day, it requires a couple different things that we've already hit on. We've talked about the plan. And then we've also, what we haven't talked about is the necessary building up of virtue, which is something that takes time. It's not that you can just say, okay, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and I'm going to work out every single day. And because I bought the gym membership and because I posted something on social media saying that I'm going to do it, I'm going to start doing that. That actually requires a certain level of virtue, which, we all have different levels of virtue in our life, and we have to have, practices in our life to help stretch us and grow in specific virtues in order to grow. And just, saying I'm going to start waking up at 5 a.m., you probably can't do that. Can you start with something smaller and say, I'm going to try and get, a 15-minute workout in at 6:45 in the morning before I get ready for work in the day, Does that make sense?
That was very well said.
And it just puts pressure to say, I'm going to change my entire life right now because this is what I see other people doing on social media and they must be doing it. And so now I have to be this person, even though I don't have the necessary virtue that I need to in order to do all of those things at once immediately.
Could I add something there?
Yeah, I have something to add too after you.
I think the pressure that comes with announcing a goal publicly on social media creates a sense of shame when you don't hit it, and it also creates potentially bad motivations. So now I'm motivated more by the fact that if I don't achieve this outcome, that I'm accountable to all these people who think I'm a failure, more than the fact that I just want to be accountable to myself to become not the secular language of a better version of myself, but the Catholic Christian perspective of the virtuous individual who's taking the stair step of grace builds on nature to achieve, hopefully one day, that perfection with God.
It's funny you say that because I was actually going to say the opposite.
Oh, come on.
And I can't remember which great newspaper released this online article that I read. But it had to do with, I think it was more Forbes business, But with New Year's resolutions, a lot of times, and I think this ties into a little bit to social media, people make these resolutions and the first thing they do is they want to tell everyone about it. And it's very interesting what happens when they tell everyone about it. People be excited for them. Hey, congratulations. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. You're gonna try to lose weight. And that actually releases the dopamine in our brains of almost it's almost the same amount as completing the actual goal.
Really?
Is the social gratification of people saying like, hey, that's really exciting. People getting excited with you.
Wow. Didn't know that.
And what this article, and maybe it was just the headline that I read, was arguing.
Well, you were a biomedical engineering college, so I trust everything you say.
Was that actually hurts our like wanting to achieve something because we've already received the dopamine
we've hit that
we would have gotten if someone naturally came up to you and be like, hey, have you been working out? You look thinner. or you look like you've lost some weight. It doesn't, like, it kind of achieves the same thing. And so now I'm not as motivated to go ahead and achieve my resolutions.
What would you guys say to a kid, a young man, young adult, young dad who has some goals for the new year that are spiritual in nature? So, every year I'm always like, I want to read the Bible cover to cover this year. I've committed to that like 5 or 6 times.
You know how many times I've started Bible in a year?
Every year. And every time I get to Leviticus and I'm like, God didn't really think about the fact that in order to read the Bible in a year, you have to go through the chalkiest book ever within the first 3 weeks. And that's where I normally stop. But for guys who, they want to do Bible in a year, they want to do Rosary in a year, they want to do something to increase their spiritual development as a man, what would you tell them?
I think the first thing I would tell them is, or I would ask them is, where's this coming from? Right? Is this coming from an invitation from God for you to grow in this direction? Or is this coming from other people are doing it? Right. And the reason why I always ask that is because I don't want it to be, kind of going back to the resolution, this insane leap forward that can happen, right? People do have awesome big conversions and then change a lot of things in their life with the help of God, right? And with grace. Absolutely. It can't happen. It can happen. But I always am wary of, hey, are we just jumping the gun here? Let's just kind of, where's this coming from, right? Is this practical? And is this like a next step and not 10 steps ahead of where you're currently at?
Yeah.
What do you think, Clayton?
Well, I think you said, you asked a question like, why are you doing that?
Where's this coming from?
Where's this coming from? And I think just to go back to those, more fitness oriented goals, I think, that's an important question to ask is, okay, you want to work out every day. Why? And it's like, well, I want to get jacked. Well, it's like, why do you want to get jacked? It's, well, I don't like myself, And so I feel like I need to make these major changes in my life right now because I don't like who I am, And it's like you don't necessarily want your goal setting to come from a place of self-hatred of like, I need to overcome, this hatred that I have of myself and change my exterior appearance so that I become more acceptable to myself and more acceptable to other people. But I think you can ask the same question when it comes to the spiritual regimen that you want to commit to. Is like, okay, you want to change these things in your life. Well, why? Answer that question. Like, what you've set these goals, but what's the reason behind the goal? And then, again, a lot of times the same thing is true with spiritual goals as it is for fitness goals as well. It's just like, hey, what are you doing right now? And how can you get 1% better tomorrow and 1% better the next day? And so instead of just trying to wake up super early and pray for an hour and meditate and levitate, it's like, can you just wake up in the morning, make your bed, get on your knees and say thank you to God for another day, and start small. That would be, my advice is like, you don't need to jump into everything all at once.
I think what a thread here I'm picking up on is just this reality of the tiny consistent habits, right? Pick one small habit, track it, and then celebrate these kind of incremental wins over the course of time. You sort of start building momentum. 2 resources that I think about are one secular, which is the book Atomic Habits, top 5 books on my bookshelf. And basically the idea of the book is you connect habits to things you are already doing. So that makes the habit easier. So instead of saying, I'm going to work out, say, I'm going to set out my clothes for exercising out early the night before I go to bed. Or instead of saying, I want to eat healthier, say, I'm going to meal prep on Sunday afternoons. So you're kind of building these habits by looking at like small incremental things like setting the shoes out, setting the clothes out. And I think you could take that to the spiritual realm too. So instead of saying, I'm going to pray the Rosary every day, you say, every time I get in the car to go to work, I'm going to pray the Rosary. So you're connecting the habit that you already have, which is driving to work, with the habit that you're trying to build of pray the Rosary. Right. And so now it's not, I need to pray it every single day. It's just when I have the habit of driving, I will pray my Rosary. That's the first resource. The second resource is the Full Focus Planner by my dude, Michael Hyatt. He does a whole like annual planning session. So he teaches you kind of how to look at the year, and then you break those things down by quarter, and then you break those things down by weeks, and then you break those things down by days, so that you're not just saying, I'm going to do this ethereal action over the next 12 months, but where do I want to be in 12 months? Great. How do I take the next 3 months to do that? How do I take the next week to do that? How do I take the next day? And you're kind of taking the elephant and you're chopping it up into bite-sized bites.
Bite-sized bites.
Bite-sized bites.
There's another resource. There's a woman named Laura Vanderkam, I think is her name. She has a bunch of books on time management. I actually haven't read any of her books.
It's the
I'm about to tell you what they're all about.
definition of this podcast.
But I read an article one time, and one of the things that she talked about in the article was that a lot of people think that in order to have a habit, it needs to be a daily thing. And she says people forget their habits, or they stop doing them because they see their life in a series of just interconnected days. She's like, really, you should just look at your life in a series of weeks, and that the habit, doesn't need to be done every day. You don't need to keep your Snapchat streak going, or the days I've run, X amount of days in a row necessarily. She's like, look at it in a week and set a goal of like, I want to do this 3 days a week. And then up it to 4 days a week, and then up it to 5 days a week, or just keep it at 3 days a week. It doesn't need to happen every single day, because what tends to happen is like if you miss out on that streak or you miss a day, you get down on yourself. You're like, I didn't do it. But it's like if you can just say, okay, I've got a week, where can I fit in, an extra time of prayer 3 days a week, or where can I fit in an extra workout, 2 days over the course of this week, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same days each week or every single day. And so that's something that has kind of changed my thinking around habits, particularly with the Whoop that I'm wearing currently. Is that you can set weekly plans on there, and it's like, okay, I have a goal of running X amount of times or exercising X amount of times, and it kind of tells you like, hey, you're averaging 3 days a week of workouts or et cetera. So does that make sense?
It does. I think you guys are talking about these great resources that have been helpful. I don't necessarily have a resource, but what's been most helpful for me, and I can't remember who told me this, but just the idea of do the hardest thing first. And that has been very helpful because it builds on what you're saying of the atomic habits for me, of what's the hardest thing, depending on where I'm at in life. Sometimes it's been exercising, sometimes it's prayer, but doing that first thing in the day sets me up for success so much more, because I'm the type of person that if I miss what I wanted to do in the morning, now I'm like, well, the day's ruined. And so now I actually don't, it doesn't matter. I didn't work out this morning. The day's already washed. Let's go get Whataburger. But doing that hard thing first has...
Eat the frog.
Is that the thing?
Isn't that a thing?
I've never heard that in my life.
Who was it? Like
Eat
Thomas
the frog?
Jefferson or something?
Wait, Thomas Jefferson.
Someone talked about how if you
founding father known frog
if you
eating.
eat a frog at the beginning of your day, it's the hardest thing you'll ever. We'll have to.
You'll ever
viewers, you
do.
can look it up. You can look it up. Make sure to eat the frog first thing.
There we go. There we go.
But yeah, I guess going to that idea, I vaguely know what you're talking about. Yeah, of like, yeah, if I need to do this early in the morning, like whether it's working out, whether it's prayer, whether it's cooking or whatever, meal prepping for the day. Because hey, if I go to the gym in the morning, why? Hey, I went to the gym. I don't want that to go to waste. Let me eat a good breakfast. Hey, I already ate a good meal and I went to the gym. Let me get a nice luncheon, And so that's been super helpful.
Or you do what I do and I say, I deserve a cookie.
I deserve a frog.
I deserve a frog after this.
Thomas Jefferson. No.
It said it somewhere. It's in the Declaration of Independence or something.
I think it was Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
I'm pretty sure it was Mark Twain.
Well,
they were in like the
difference?
same 200-year period, at least, Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
I'm wondering for dudes who are listening, if there's just kind of like one small granular habit that we could just say, all right, do this one small thing. If you just do this one small thing, it's going to have kind of a disproportionate effect on the rest of your life.
I want to go first.
You're doing the Pledge of Allegiance.
I love Thomas Jefferson. I love my country. I love frogs.
Hit us.
I also love going to bed at the same time every single night. I think there is no better thing that you can do for really your entire life than just make sure that you go to bed at a reasonable time every single night and keep it consistent. Because everybody has a goal of waking up early so that they can, do X, Y, and Z routine or whatever it is they want to do. Not everybody sets a goal of when they want to go to bed. And it's like the preparation for the next day begins on the current day. And so if you can go to bed at a reasonable time, set a bedtime for yourself and be disciplined and stick to it, that's the thing that's going to help you get up in the morning to work out. That's the thing that's going to help you to get up in the morning to pray. Go to bed.
I guess what I just said about doing a hard thing doesn't necessarily have it. So I'll give you two that in my head are kind of the same. But I don't like going to bed if there are dishes still out in the sink. I can't stand it. I won't get good sleep. I will be stressed and thinking about it all night because it sets me up for a clean morning. When I wake up, I'm like, the house is clean, right? Like it's just a new day. That's been super helpful for me. Tying it in with making my bed in the morning. I'm not a military guy. I feel like I've seen all these YouTube shorts of the military telling you, like, make your bed in the morning. It's the most important thing. I don't know about that. I just know it's nice after a long day to come home and your bedroom is clean, your bed is made, and you can just like lay down. Those would be the two that are kind of in the same vein for me.
I think my recommendation is look at what time you put up your phone at night and then what time you pick up your phone in the morning. So the small thing could just be, I'm going to delay the usage of my phone for 30 minutes after I wake up. Just simple. Yeah. Don't make it crazy. Don't do 2 hours because let's be honest, you're so addicted that that's not going to work. 30 minutes, start at 15, start at 45 minutes, start at an hour, and just do that and allow yourself to have a little bit of a clear head in the morning so that the first thing you do is not looking at your text message. This morning, I woke up. I grabbed my phone because I was driving to the gym, had to put it in maps. Made the mistake of looking at that text, and the text was something that I forgot I needed to get done. And so the first 5 to 10 minutes of my waking up is filled with an experience of anxiety that I failed in something that I got from looking at that text about how I missed calling this person back.
Absolutely.
And so to create a space of peace, first 30 minutes to set yourself up for success, then you can eat the frog and you can move forward throughout your day.
You know what's a tiny habit that my wife really wants me to implement? Is no phones while going number 2 in the bathroom.
That is some
Gracious.
like
And I feel like that's a
gladiator
shared
level suffering.
That's like a shared experience amongst men. It's just like, this is my time to like read a new article. Like the most article, like I've read most of my articles that I reference in the show on the toilet.
My favorite scene from Happy Gilmore 2 is when they go, Happy, go to your quiet place. Or your happy place. And he switches over and it's him on the toilet looking at his phone laughing.
Looking at squirrels doing something fun.
I'm like, that is 100% my happy place.
So relatable, yeah.
Is looking at Strava on the toilet.
You're just looking at something that I don't need to be looking at.
It's amazing.
Very penitential. That's the highway to heaven right there. How did you get in here? Well, I gave up.
Looking
Looking
phones.
at YouTube on the toilet.
Yeah, you're in. You're in. Say nothing else. Well, to wrap up our show today, we want to invite our listeners to go ahead and make a few resolutions. Make them small, make them actionable, and find some brothers to hold you accountable. Don't go all in on doing crazy resolutions, but do go all in on finding a couple brothers to keep you accountable to those big jumps that you want to make this year. This is the All In Podcast. We are still living liturgically with our Christmas decorations. Don't take those down yet. You know who you are. Thank you so much, and make sure to ding dong ditch that like button. Make sure to knock on that subscribe button, and make sure this year that you are subscribed and sharing the All In Podcast with everyone that you know and their dog. Thank you.